Ich bin, I am, a phrase that on its own seems grammatically incomplete. But in my I am's poem, it is an intentional choice. In our poem Aus dem Rahmen, Ich bin is left unsuspended. It is visually and syntactically uncontained. It resists closure. It resists the expectation that identity can be neatly defined. My name is Kehinde Sowunmi. I'm a second year PhD student in the Department of Germanic Languages and Literature in the University of Michigan. My research focuses on the modernism of Afro German phenomenology, German African migration, and diasporic studies. But for this talk, I turn to Afro German poetry and examine how Black writers uses language not just to tell stories, but also to unsettle the very structure that govern voice, authorship, and belonging. The title of my talk, Dolphin Schwarzen Blumen malen, figuratively translated as Should Black People Paint Flowers, poses simultaneous questions that challenges the boundaries of Black creativity within the discourse of justice, resistance, and authorship. It also asks whether Black expression must always be defined through resistance and trauma, or whether there's space for ambiguity, rest, and beauty on their own terms. In exploring this broad question of mine, I examine my Aim's Aus dem Rahmen fallen, a poem that was published in 1995 in the collection of a poem titled Blues in Schwarz-Weiß. The fragmented Ich bin marks the instability of the speaking subject, a subject that is positioned at the margins of Germanness but never silent. In this poem, she uses a writing style to disrupt the supposed neutrality of the German language, exposing the racial and cultural politics embedded within its grammar. And she crafts a heterotopic space, a new linguistic and political space where Schwarz, ich bin, Schwarz meaning black, is not just marginal, but is central of discourse. And in doing so, she asserts a new kind of justice for the word ich bin and Schwarz, which means black. Nearly 3 decades later, Sharon Dodua Otto picks up this thread and in her 2022 essay, Doffen Schwarzen Blumen Mal, she asks the question, are Black people permitted to create beyond pain, beyond explanation? Or must every Black person or Black text be a testimony of trauma? Can it be beauty, resistance, and joy? And sometimes rest or silence? This conversation between Mayim and Otto across time and genres reflects how the struggle for justice evolves. And my aim insists on the right to speak from the margins. Otto insists on the same thing, but with a different direction, insisting for the right to step away from this. Both remain both stories remain unbowed in resistance and in redefinition. So my talk explores the space between Mahim radical Ishbin and Otto's call for creative autonomy. It considers what it means to speak from within a language that has never been neutral, and to insist not only on being heard, but also on choosing how and when to speak, and when, like Aim, to step out of the frame entirely. And this space is not just theoretical. They are lived, negotiated, and constantly reshaped by Black writers who challenge not only exclusion, but in terms of inclusion itself. So by centering these intentional choices of IM and Otto, fragmentation, visual form, writing, linguistics disruption, and political refusal, my talk explores how Black authorship becomes a site of both resistance and reconstruction. Their words do not just seek permission. They create conditions for others to speak. They create conditions for rest and to exist on for creators to exist on their own term. They create conditions for people to step outside of the frame, not just as a form of disappearance, but as a different kind of presence, one that makes space for justice through film, language, and refusal. Thank you.